Disney's recent move to sideline Rachel Zegler from interviews and live appearances ahead of the Snow White remake has set the entertainment world buzzing. Fans, critics, and even casual viewers are all asking the same question: what exactly is happening behind the scenes? This live-action retelling of Snow White was pitched as a landmark project, an opportunity for Disney to bring fresh ideas to a beloved classic while holding on to its timeless charm. Instead, the film now seems tangled in a wave of controversy. It almost feels as if Disney is scrambling to shield itself from a storm that's already raging. But here's the bigger question. Is the company stepping in early enough to save the film, or is it already too late? At the center of the uproar is Rachel Zegler, the actress chosen to play the iconic princess. Much of the trouble began when she made some outspoken, some might even say careless remarks about the 1937 original. Zegler dismissed the animated version as outdated and even criticized the prince, calling his behavior creepy and stalker-like. For many Disney fans, Snow White isn't just another movie, it's part of their childhood. Hearing the star of the remake tear into the original struck a nerve. Almost overnight, Zegler found herself in the middle of an internet firestorm. Social media platforms lit up with heated debates, sharp criticism, and calls for Disney to rethink her casting. And this wasn't just ordinary backlash. It was the kind of intense reaction that comes when you clash with a brand as enormous and deeply cherished as Disney. Seeing the situation spiral, Disney chose to act quickly. They pulled Zegler from the spotlight entirely. No interviews, no promotional appearances, no stage performances. It was a drastic step, essentially muting her voice at a time when she was supposed to be front and center. On the surface, it looks like a snap decision, a quick fix to cool things down before the outrage grew even bigger. Disney is known for carefully navigating crises with precision, always working to protect the magic of its image. But in this case, many are left wondering, did they wait too long, and can this film still recover from the damage? Disney's choice to pull Rachel Zegler out of the spotlight feels less like damage control and more like trying to cool a fire with steam. It doesn't quite make sense. The move has sparked plenty of questions, because this isn't the sort of decision Disney makes lightly. For a studio that's built its reputation on polished image management, the response seems unusually drastic. Disney has weathered criticism before, over casting, story changes, and shifting cultural values, without cutting ties to its leading stars. So why now? What's really happening behind the curtain? Zegler's remarks about the original Snow White, calling it outdated and pointing out the prince's questionable behavior, weren't exactly groundbreaking. For years, academics and audiences alike have critiqued Disney classics for their gender roles, true love's kiss tropes, and damsel-in-distress narratives. In many ways, Zegler was just echoing commentary that's been part of cultural discussions for decades. Yet Disney's reaction to her words was swift, almost alarmingly so. That raises the question, was this really about what she said, or was something else driving the decision? It's possible the studio felt the weight of something bigger. As companies like Disney navigate new expectations around inclusivity, gender representation, and social responsibility, every public statement is under the microscope. Zegler's comments may have hit a nerve at a time when Disney is trying to carefully balance respect for its nostalgic past with the push for modern relevance. Silencing her could be less about the specifics of her critique, and more about the studio's larger effort to control its image during a cultural shift that leaves little room for mistakes. But maybe there's more. Some speculate that Disney isn't just worried about alienating longtime fans of the 1937 film, it could also be strategizing to appeal to audiences who are skeptical of the company's more progressive storytelling choices. Recent moves suggest Disney may be recalibrating its brand to keep from losing one side of its audience entirely. If that's the case, the Zegler controversy is only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The situation even caught the attention of South Park. Known for skewering cultural trends, the show took direct aim at Disney's approach to remaking its classics. Their parody mocked the company for being more focused on checking diversity boxes than preserving the heart of its stories. The satire resonated with many who feel Disney's efforts at inclusivity, while well-intentioned, risk alienating lifelong fans who just want the magic of the originals. That jab only amplified the ongoing debate, keeping the Snow White remake under a harsh national spotlight. And the troubles don't end there. Reports have surfaced of tension between Zegler and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen. According to insiders, their political differences have led to clashes on set, creating a strained atmosphere during production. When two central stars don't see eye to eye, it doesn't just cause awkward moments, it impacts the energy of the entire cast and crew. Fans have already started taking sides, which only intensifies the conflict online. As if that weren't enough, early test screenings haven't helped the film's chances. Word is, audiences weren't impressed by Zegler's interpretation of Snow White, and the reimagined CGI dwarfs failed to win anyone over. Instead of generating excitement, the screenings left many feeling disconnected from the story. For a film meant to be Disney's next big reimagined classic, that's a troubling sign. Reports suggest that test screenings left Disney so concerned they made a drastic move, cutting 3 of Rachel Zegler's songs from the film. For a Disney musical, that's no small adjustment. Songs are often the heartbeat of these stories, the moments fans carry with them for generations. To pull them out signals just how uneasy the studio must be. At this stage, it's hard to ignore that Disney is scrambling to contain the fallout, but whether they can still turn this ship around remains a huge question mark. So what's really happening here? Is Disney simply reacting to Zegler's controversial remarks, or is she being made the scapegoat for deeper issues? On the surface, silencing her looks like an attempt to stop the bleeding. But when you dig a little deeper, the controversy exposes something bigger: a creative identity crisis. Disney's mission with these remakes has always been to modernize classics without losing their magic. But in the process, are they drifting too far from the very qualities that made those stories timeless? Zegler's comments may have been the spark, but the fire burning underneath is Disney's ongoing struggle to balance inclusivity and progress with tradition and nostalgia. For longtime fans, the sense of rewriting childhood favorites to fit modern ideals can feel like erasing history. And yet Disney can't afford to ignore cultural shifts. The company faces immense pressure to update its stories for today's audiences, where representation, gender equality, and social awareness are non-negotiable. It's a delicate line to walk, and one misstep, like the Zegler controversy, can send shockwaves across their brand. The tension only grows when you consider the reported behind-the-scenes clashes. Rumors of friction between Zegler and co-star Gal Gadot, combined with underwhelming test audience reactions, paint a picture of a project struggling to find its footing. Add in fans picking sides online, and the drama becomes bigger than the movie itself. This leaves Disney in a precarious spot. Can they salvage Snow White, or is it destined to become another example of a remake weighed down by controversy? The stakes are high. If the film falters, it won't just bruise this one release. It could call into question the entire live-action remake strategy, from The Little Mermaid to Mulan to Beauty and the Beast. What's clear is that the Zegler debate is bigger than a few outspoken comments. It highlights a deeper cultural clash: Disney's desire to reshape its legacy for a new era, versus the expectations of loyal fans who want the classics preserved. If handled carefully, this shift could mark a bold new chapter for the studio. But if mishandled, it risks alienating audiences on both sides, leaving Disney with neither the nostalgia it once owned nor the cultural relevance it's chasing. For now, one question looms: will Snow White emerge as proof that Disney can evolve without losing its soul? Or will it stand as a cautionary tale of a studio overreaching in its quest to redefine itself? This whole situation feels like a storm that's spun completely out of control. By pulling Rachel Zegler from the spotlight, Disney may have revealed a bigger problem with how it manages its stars and responds to controversy. Instead of standing behind her and framing her remarks as part of a broader discussion about how classic stories evolve, the studio chose to cut ties publicly. But was that the right call? Could Disney have turned this into an opportunity for dialogue rather than damage control? That's where the debate gets interesting. Was there another way to handle the backlash? One that could have benefited both Zegler and the company in the long run? Or was Disney left with no choice but to distance itself in order to protect its brand? We want to know what you think. Do you see Zegler as being unfairly treated? Or is this simply the cost of navigating such a high-profile role in today's environment? Does the remake have any realistic chance of winning back fans, or has the damage already been done? And how far can Disney lean into inclusivity and modern themes before it starts alienating the very audiences who grew up loving these classics? This conversation isn't going away anytime soon, and your perspectives make it even more important. Share your thoughts in the comments, because this debate touches on more than just one film. It's about Disney's entire strategy moving forward. And before we go further, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss the next update. The Snow White controversy is evolving almost daily, and we'll be here to break down every twist, whether it's behind-the-scenes reports, new fan reactions, or sudden announcements from Disney itself. What's clear is that the decision to sideline Zegler has pushed this saga to a new level. We're no longer just talking about offhand remarks or casting choices. This feels like a turning point that could shape how Disney handles its remakes, its talent, and even its image as a company. The backlash has been fierce, and with so many moving parts, the road ahead is bound to be long and messy. So join the conversation, let us know where you stand, and buckle up, because this Snow White saga is far from over, and we'll be here for every single development along the way.